Welcome everyone to another live episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell, and we are excited to be here because we have the second preseason game just around the corner this weekend, 8 o'clock against the Cardinals in Arizona. So we're going to get into what the Ravens will be doing these next couple days. We want to talk about the Deshaun Watson ultimate decision, which was released today. We also want to talk about Marquis Brown's comments most recently. I believe it was yesterday, on why he wanted to move on from the Ravens. And so we'll go over that. And then anything else that you guys want to talk about in the comments section, of course, we'll go over as well. Quick shout out. What's going on, Aaron? Appreciate you coming out. Marco G, my guy. Joshua, appreciate you coming out. Colin, yeah, I love how Lamar shutting down the reporter. And appreciate you coming out, Walter, as well. What's going on, Don C? Yep, we're back live for another episode this week, and excited to be here, Jimbo.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think the other thing I want to talk about too is the left guard spot. I think it's interesting. You know, there's been some comments by John. It sounds like it's still undecided, so I think it'd be good for us to give our take, our observations, who we think will get the job, etc. So let's start with kind of what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens. If you guys don't know, like Glenn said, they're traveling out to Arizona, and in preparation for their Sunday night game against the Arizona Cardinals. And in the next 2 days, they're going to be practicing at Arizona State University, good old Sun Devils. If I'm not mistaken, that is the alma mater of one double nickel T Sizzle, right?
Yes, I believe you are correct. Yes, and there's a lot of former head coaches on the staff.
Oh,
over
you're right.
Arizona
Herman Edwards.
State. Yep, Herm Edwards is the head coach, and then Brian Billick is on his staff as an offensive assistant advisor.
I'm sure he'll make a stop by.
I mean, he's got to. And then Marvin Lewis. So not only are they former NFL coaches, but they're also former Raven coaches at that. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why they're at Arizona State, and I'm sure they'll get the red carpet treatment.
Absolutely. But the other thing I want to talk about is I want to get your take on this. Of course, there's only 3 preseason games at this point, Glenn. And in the first game, you know, we saw some semblance of a first unit in like the O-line, sort of, not really. I mean, Zeitler didn't play, and you know, obviously Linderbaum wasn't out there, but we saw some guys that are probably going to be starters out there. How do you expect there to be more starters, like your traditional ones, out there in this game, or do you expect John to be conservative and sit the guys?
Hey, that's a good question, Jim, because I think the key starters will remain on the sideline.
Okay.
So he already announced
those guys.
Well, he already announced Lamar and Mark Andrews. He spoke to by name, but I think after that, Zeitler's certainly not going to be a guy we're going to see out there. I think
Bateman probably not.
Yeah, probably not Bateman, as they continue to try and make sure that receiving core gets to the season healthy. I don't think we'll see J.K. Dobbins. I still think he's working his way back, and defensively, I think is where I think you might see a little bit more representation of the starters. I don't think offensively you'll see much of a change. I'm trying to think if there's anybody who didn't start last game who we might see this game.
You're still talking offensively?
Yeah, offensively, I don't see anyone else who we didn't see last week starting this week. I think it's going to be relatively similar.
Yeah, there's no way JK plays. You're right.
Yeah, no way. And I don't even see no way Zeitler's back. I can't imagine. Linderbaum is expected to return to practice when they practice starting tomorrow, Friday, in Arizona. But I don't expect him to return to practice on Friday and then be game day ready on Sunday. I think that's too short of a window, so I don't think he'll be there. So defensively, I think there's a shot at maybe some of the defensive group, the defensive line group. I think you might see some guys who are considered starters play, and maybe some secondary. Do we see Marlon? I don't see the point.
Yeah, I think that, of course, Peters is out. Marlon is out. I don't think we see Chuck. I don't think we see 32 in Marcus Williams. I think the only guy will be Kyle Hamilton, of course, will continue to get run. But really quickly, before we forget, because we were talking about this pre-show, so Sean, you were on our minds. Shout out to Sean Pisker, who became a patron today. Patron today. He mentioned that in the chat here. Big love, man. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Looking forward to interacting.
I feel like
with
I know
you.
Sean because I was telling you, Jimbo, we're Facebook friends. So I feel like I know Sean. Congrats. Shout out on the new addition to the family. Congratulations. See you and your wife excited. So yeah, thanks for joining the Patreon team and appreciate the continued support. Yeah,
and keep telling the folks to head on over, man. Look, this is what makes it possible for us to continue to produce content and get out there and become independent, if you will.
That's what we're working towards every day on here. We're working to be on this microphone every single day. So that's the goal.
That's right. So we appreciate all the support from you guys and hope that you get a lot of value out of it. And I think also intern Brad will start contributing there. And I think we got some good ideas for our patrons as well to continue to bring you guys some good stuff. So shout out. But yeah, so what do you think? Do you think we see Williams or Chuck or any of those four that I mentioned? Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so. I better see a little bit. I want to see a little bit of Kyle Fuller. I know he's a veteran. I know
that's a good point because he's battling. I don't think he's a
battling. He's battling, and I think here's the thing. If you look at his contract, it appears as if he's a lock in the sense that if they cut him, they don't really have any savings, and they do have dead cap space. So unless they're willing to eat the dead cap money, I think he's got a really good shot to play. But I'm just worried about the quality of the play they're getting from him, right?
And at the end of the day, he's got pride, right?
Yeah.
So he's fighting for clock. Say he's not fighting for a roster spot. I'm sure he doesn't want to sit on the bench.
Yeah, and he don't want to be the fourth guy with a bunch of young guys.
Then what happens, right? His next contract becomes less and less likely. Like that starts to moonlight his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't want that to happen. He wants this to be a resurgence. So he's got a lot to play for if he wants to keep getting paid and not get forced out of the league.
Yep. Yeah. And the question I have for you, Jimbo.
All right, let's hear it.
Are any of those guys in the secondary going to be charged with guarding Marquis Hollywood Brown?
Nah, he ain't playing. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Marquis ain't playing till week 1. He's out there trotting around. Nah, he's not playing. Nah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, do you think so? Like,
I think that there's a shot because of the fact that he's new to the team, new to the offense, and the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be suspended. So they got to get the Marquise up and ready to go. If I was the Cardinals, no chance I'd play him.
Right.
But they might. They might just play him. And that would be interesting to see because I think if they play him, even though it's preseason, I bet they try and get him the ball at least a couple times against his former team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But maybe they'll learn how, and I don't wish injury on anyone, but he's always close to injury, right? Dude, Sean, bro.
Oh, my man, Sean, guess what? We're going to be at that game.
That's right, dude. You want to throw that thing up there?
Yes, sir.
Right,
Sean says also bought tickets today for the Sunday night game versus the Bengals. Can't wait. Well, we can't wait to see you there, Sean. We will be in the building, so we must link up at some point.
And I think we're going to try and tailgate. It's a Sunday night game. Might as well, right, Glenn?
There you go. You can have a tall one with your boy.
That's right.
You know? Yeah, that'll be fun, though. So we got to get a picture, hang out, and, yeah, that'll be a blast. So
absolutely. No, that'll be a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to that game. I can't wait to drive Joe Burrow into the ground.
I'm so excited, dude. I'm going to be screaming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm just trying to review the defense as well.
Maybe some of the defensive front because of the fact that they're going to have to play somebody good because they're all good. So certainly a lot of Travis Jones.
A lot of Travis Jones.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see some Broderick Washington, some Justin Metabike. You know, I really wouldn't even be that. Well, I guess Michael Pierce and Calais Campbell, that would be a bit of a surprise to see those guys. But yeah, as far as the third-year guys, why not see a little bit of Broderick and Justin?
100%. I hope we see those guys. And I'm looking forward to it. So I'm trying to think if there's, and of course, I don't know if this is the defensive front. This is more like the edge, but I'm excited to see more of Means.
Yeah.
Excited to see what he's got. See if he can build on his momentum that he's got. I'm trying to review here. Oh, I want to see some Dalen Hayes out there. See if he splashes. But I can't think of anyone else off the bat, of course, from a starter standpoint that's going to be out there. So I think that's the first thing to cover. Let's get into Hollywood Brown's comments, Glenn. What so I only read it. I didn't watch it. I was super busy today, and it's funny, my wife actually texted it to me because I was head down in work. But what's going on with Hollywood Brown?
Yeah, so he was asked, of course, again, why he wanted to move on from the Ravens. Let's see here. I'm wondering if I should just pull it up on the screen and share it. Is that
you got it on Twitter?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, then you can do
the
it.
only worry.
We won't get popped.
Well, we did show some Twitter stuff last time, and it got us into some.
So it wasn't Twitter.
That's where he got them from.
You're talking about the one that when you went solo?
Yeah.
No, but that so as long as you do it off, you should be good.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So he was asked about. Here we go. All right. I got it here. Let me just pull it up and show everyone exactly what he said and how he said it. Because I think a lot of times when you just read text, it doesn't really give you.
Yeah, sorry, DK. My bad. DK just commented. DK's working late tonight, so we appreciate all the hard work he's putting in. My bad, Glenn. I cut you off mid-sentence. That was ridiculous.
Oh, you're all right. No, I ain't worry about it. All right.
Shout out to DK. We miss you, bro.
Here we go. All right. So I'm going to add this. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
I love being at the Ravens. Just the organization and what I stand for on the football field is what they stand for. It was just some, for my career that I had to do. But I love, everything that the Ravens do, what they stand for, and everything like that.
Simply as like you're gonna catch more passes in this offense.
Yeah, it's about happiness. I mean, I want to feel like, I'm a part of something to win. I mean, at the Ravens, I just feel like sometimes they really didn't need me. Like, regardless if I was there or not, they're gonna win games. And I love the game too much. I want to be involved. People get it wrong.
Okay, all right. So there's what he said. Now I couldn't hear because I don't know why, but I couldn't hear. But I've seen this clip many times.
We're hurting for DK, aren't we?
Yeah, I do. We need him. But basically, so if I remember correctly, because I saw the comments yesterday, he was very complimentary of the Ravens, loved the organization, loved everything they stood for, but felt that the offense didn't need him, that he wasn't, that they would be just as good with or without him, that they would win games and score points, and that he isn't truly a difference maker in this offense. And for that reason, he didn't want to be here. Now, what was your thoughts now that you've heard him actually say?
Yeah, I got a great story to go with this. So shout out to the CEO of my company. He's from Australia and he's super straightforward, right? So I won't get too long-winded here, but we provide people with threat intel. We provide people with information that is closed in the dark web. Their credentials are being sold. Other things are being sold, like 007 internet spy stuff, right? That's what we do. We provide it to our customers. Now it's their job to take that information and then action it, right? Like do stuff with it to protect themselves. Yeah. So this customer asked us once, "Oh, this is great information, but what am I supposed to do with it?" And my CEO literally stopped and said, lack of actionability is a demonstration of lack of internal capability. Right? So like, to me, that's exactly what I think of when I think of Hollywood Brown, because like if we were winning and we didn't need you, it was because you weren't making an impact. And that speaks for itself, because he had tons of targets, 145 targets. If you weren't making an impact, 145 targets.
Yeah.
Who's
ninth most in the league?
Yeah, I mean, how many more are you gonna get on a year over year average, right? Like, whether you're at the Cardinals, whether you're at the Steelers, whether you're at the Patriots, whoever, that is like you said, top 10 in the league. If you didn't make an impact, if you didn't feel like you became a player that was needed in that moment, it's kind of on you, right?
And it was because 146 targets, and you look at his yak yards, his yards after catch in comparison to all the best receivers, all those guys in that top 10 with him with targets. And he's a distant, he's distant, he didn't do much more than what was already provided to him in the construct of the offense.
Right.
They talk about a running back getting what's blocked for him, but then there's the running backs that get more than just what's blocked for them. And he couldn't get more.
Gus Edwards.
Exactly. Breaking tackles, making guys miss. This is things that were not a strong suit while Hollywood was here. And so, I mean, again, I don't have a problem with what he said because he was very complimentary of the Ravens organization.
Sure.
But I'm still puzzled as to exactly what I still don't like. I don't have a problem with what he said, but I still don't truly understand why he wanted to leave. Now, I'll say this. I think it worked out for the best because I don't feel like the Ravens were going to pay him beyond this season anyway.
And that's what it was really about.
But he could have gotten his money after, like, he didn't have to force his way out. He could have gotten his money after this season, but maybe he thinks he can maximize it elsewhere.
Right. I think that once his agent had that conversation with the Ravens, and the Ravens simply made it clear, you or another receiver, unless you're Randy Moss, we're not paying you what Devontae Adams, what AJ Brown, what, Tyreek Hill are getting paid. If you want anything like that, we're not going to do it. So I think that once that was had, he was like, well, I have the most leverage right now as a trade piece.
Yeah.
So let me, see if I can, get out there and get a trade. That was my thoughts. It's crazy to think this, Glenn, because I guarantee you that his stats destroy Tory Smith's stats, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you talk about impact, huge plays in the Ravens franchise for the past, pre-Lamar Jackson era, in the Joe Flacco era, you can't think of 10 big moments without half of them, including Tory Smith. I mean, so while his stats were lackluster in comparison to Tory Smith, or in comparison to Hollywood Brown, you don't think the Ravens felt like they needed 82?
Oh,
yeah, they needed 82.
I mean, that catch he made against the Steelers, dude, in Heinz Field is still one of the greatest moments in history. So
100%, dude. So to me, it's about the money. It's about the
money.
But
it really worked out best for him in a way and the Ravens. And the reason he has it so good is because if you trade for a guy and give up that much,
right,
you're stuck with having to pay him. Yep. So now he has ultimate leverage over the Cardinals, and the Ravens got an excellent return in able to trade. So really, I think it was a win-win for him and for the Ravens. But I will say, I don't think he gets 146 targets this year, even with the suspension.
DK was asking that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I see. I don't think he does, but I do think he is the future, at least in their mind, the future number one, because I don't think Hopkins is going to get more money past his current contract.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's risky business if the Cardinals, who consider themselves to be a pass first team, are going to count on Hollywood Brown to be at number one here to fourth, right? Like that's.
But I don't know. Tanja, I see he wanted to catch the ball and not block all game, but when you get top 10 in the whole league in targets, you get 146 targets.
How much higher are you going?
You cannot expect to get more than 146 targets as a receiver. Not many people in the world have ever gotten 146 targets as an NFL receiver. It's just rare. So, I mean, he wasn't asked to block a ton. He was asked to catch.
Does he want to be schemed open more? Like, okay, then just say, hey, I can't do it. I need to be schemed open more. Like, no, I mean, obviously no one's going to say that in front of a microphone, right? But like, maybe it's that. But I think ultimately it's just, for his career, is just a veiled way of saying, I need my money, and the Cardinals value wide receivers more than the Ravens. They paid, gosh, what's his name? They're the guy that got suspended?
Hopkins.
They paid him an insurmountable amount of money without an agent.
Yeah.
So my chances of getting paid are with the Cardinals. I think that's what it's about at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
But let's move on to somebody who's closer to the AFC North. I know we're here to talk about the Ravens, but this directly affects the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of heated opinions about this, and that is the quarterback for the Browns, Deshaun Watson. It's been official. They have settled as far as, I don't know how all this works, right? Like, they've come to an agreement that it's 11 games. Usually I'm up on understanding these things, but I'm having a hard time understanding some of them at this point. Like Deshaun had leverage here in the decision-making and things. But anyway, got 11 games, got fined $5 million, put this thing to bed. That is Deshaun Watson, if someone's asking who. But Glenn, what's your take on the situation?
Yeah, so they increased the suspension and added the fine. So it's better than the initial decision that was offered down by Judge Sue Robinson. I think 11 games is better than 8, and I think the $5 million fine is better than nothing. But I still don't think it's enough. I mean, what the part that I think is truly interesting is that, or frustrating, is that Deshaun has always maintained his innocence throughout and hasn't shown a ton of remorse. So he's saying he's innocent, but yet he also has regrets about the situation. So I just don't like that. It doesn't seem like a lot of remorse coming out of him. And then when you hear the stuff that, from the findings of the situation, Judge Sue Robinson described it as unprecedented level of sexual misconduct, in the sense that she thought he had a problem, that she was not sure that he would not do this again, that all future massage therapy sessions should be in a team-based environment and not done privately, should be supervised. I mean, it just sounded like what they've gathered is that this guy is a threat. He's a danger. And so I just find it crazy to think that we're suspending guys for, we have guys like, who's the receiver that got suspended 50 times? Gordon.
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon has lost how much money and how much time for smoking weed? This guy has 25 women accusing him of sexual assault, and he gets an 11-game suspension. It just doesn't.
And he got the most guaranteed money. Like, so it sounds like to me, I want to get your thoughts here. Like, I have a hard time thinking that he should be able to play in the league. I know that people might think think whatever you want, folks. Like, I just
show some remorse.
Yeah, I mean, and then did you see he walked back on his apology?
Yeah,
So
I don't understand.
It just shocks me that he's not only able to continue to, like, the extent of his punishment is 10% of his annual salary on his new contract and 11 games. And, he's got the most guaranteed money by $82 million or whatever before the Kyler Murray signing. Which
let's not forget that the owner structured his deal so his salary would only be $1 million this year.
And that's why they hit him with $5 million fine.
But even then.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, and DK brings up a good point. Calvin Ridley's paying a bigger price than Deshaun Watson, who is literally, ladies and gentlemen, there's no other way to say it. He is a sexual predator. 15 years ago, he would have been in the back page of your local newspaper where they have all the people's mugshots and say, like, keep your children away from these registered sex offenders.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying.
No, I mean, it's just, it's surprising. It's disappointing, especially after some of the more recent, issues in the last few years of how they've, cracked down on these issues, and it just seems like they're going backwards a little bit here.
Now, let me ask you this. As far as football context goes, what happens with the Browns these 11 games? Some people are talking about Jimmy G. I don't see it. I think they ride with Brissett. I think they'd have to give up too much to go get Jimmy.
I don't see the value in trading all that would take to get him, paying him, and really how many more wins is he going to get you than Jacoby is in those 11 games? And you're handing it to Deshaun after those 11 anyway. So I think they ride with what they got in Jacoby Brissett. He's won a lot of games in the league. He's lost more than he's won, but he's won a lot of games nonetheless. And I think he's he's probably one of the better backups that you'll find, if not the best backup around the league.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, and then my follow-up is are they no longer playoff contenders at this point? Is that safe to say? I mean, I think so. I think they're out of the playoff.
AFC is awfully tough, man. It's awfully tough. And I think the North is certainly out of the question. And I just doubt when you look at all the good teams that they've even had a shot at the third wild card spot.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there.
But I'm not mad that he's at least going to miss that first Ravens game. Although I will say this, his expected return was the Ravens, and that wouldn't have been bad either, because you're talking about a guy who hasn't played in a long, long time. And your first experience back is going to be against that secondary. I think we would have absolutely destroyed him, but that's okay. That's all right. We'll save it for later.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quickly, I don't want to get too heated on this whole situation, but Don C's got me going, dude, in a good way. Like, Don is like, says the Browns fan. The guy said, of course, JJB, like, was he convicted? No. Okay. That's fine. That's fair. But watch the short films from the court. Watch him plead the fifth.
He paid a lot of money to not be like.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's giving up all this money to all these settling all these civil lawsuits?
It's damning. It is damning when you plead the fifth in a situation like that. I've been counseled by my lawyer to exercise my right to plead the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah. Anyway, it just is all terrible. So yeah, I think Browns are out of contention. I think that this is quickly becoming a two-headed race in the AFC North.
But next year, he'll be there all year. And going forward, he will be their quarterback. Marco G says, Brown was right. Detroit game was a prime example. 3 drop passes and Tuck hit a record-setting field goal. He isn't Kupp, Adams, Chase, or Hill. So I guess, yeah. I mean, even with one of the worst performances we've ever seen from a wide receiver, dropping 3 touchdown passes, by the way, not just 3 passes.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, and they still win the game. That's true. That's a good point that even, with him having the worst game, they found a way to win the game.
No, yeah. But once again, whose fault is that?
No, but that's what he's saying. It's like,
yeah,
he's saying, I don't matter.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good point. Can't say he was wrong.
Yeah.
Just about whose shoulders it falls on. All right. So, Glenn, let's talk some other Raven stuff. We've talked Browns. We've talked
Brown,
right? All right, let's talk some Raven stuff, Glenn.
Okay. All right, let's do it. So, the one thing that has me, a little bit still on the fence as to who's going to take the job. You mentioned it before the show, is the left guard spot.
Mm-hmm.
I have my personal feelings, but it looks like my personal feelings aren't aligning with the coaches. When I see the 2 play, I see a clear athletic advantage as well as a size advantage to Tyree Phillips. But it's clear to me in the athleticism department. When they're pulling, he just looks like the far better athlete that can get to the second and sometimes even third level. And I don't see those same things with Powers. But when asked about the competition, John Harbaugh made it clear that currently Powers is the leader at that spot and that he is the more consistent, is the word he used. He's the more consistent player, which tells me that Tyree Phillips is still having mental errors. He's still having issues where he's blowing assignments. He's not. And at this point in his career, as long as he's been here, in my opinion, that's unacceptable. He should know every assignment at this point. This isn't a new offense. He's just learning. This is the same one. So I'm disappointed to hear that. But ultimately, Jimbo, when you watch the 2 play and you hear all the news coming out, who ends up at left guard?
Yeah, man, this is a tricky question, but I'm going to ride with intern Brad's dad on this one.
Okay.
And he said that the Ravens always side with the more consistent, tough guy than they do with the athletic, higher upside guy.
So you're telling me it's Powers.
It's Powers. Yep. But if they weren't drafted the same year, right? I feel pretty confident in saying that it was Powers and then Tyreek in the following year.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that just could be a way for them to protect themselves, not pay Powers, and then, you got a guy in the pipeline next year. Yeah. I know you always want to get your best 5 out there on the field, but if there's not a clear-cut difference, Powers, you let him go get paid, right? He's the best guy this year, and then next year, this time, even though they'll be on separate teams, maybe the Ravens say, well, Tyree's the better player this year anyway, right? Like, he's got another year under his belt. He's got another opportunity to develop, and then, we still got the better of the options. But right now, Powers is just the better guy. Maybe that's their thought.
Yeah, it could be. And also, Powers doesn't make mental errors. So while he's limited athletically, we at least know he'll know always what to do, where to be. And we don't have to worry about that kind of mystery, that what if Tyree doesn't know the call and he turns inside to help the center when he was supposed to double team the outside and then a guy gets cleaned out. So you don't want that to be a problem. Let's hear.
So what do you think, though? I don't think you gave
what I think is they want Tyree Phillips to be the guy, but he's just making too many bonehead mistakes out there. And so as much as they want him to be the guy, if he can't show that he can get through at least a practice and a full game without any mental errors, then it doesn't matter how much better he is athletically. We'll take the guy who is making less mistakes. So I'm hopeful that it's Tyree Phillips, but if it's not, then I'll understand what's holding him back. And it's likely upstairs. It's not athletically because he's far better athletically than Ben Powers is.
For sure. Now let's stay on the O-line real quick because, like you mentioned, Tyler Linderbaum is coming back and it looks like he's just doing individuals for practice. Are you starting to get nervous about Linderbaum and this foot issue that it could be reoccurring and that it eventually needs surgery? Or do you feel pretty good that he's going to be starting week 1?
I think he's going to be out there week 1. I still feel pretty good about it. I think they were very clear in saying this is not a reoccurring Liz Frank injury, that he was stepped on. And I don't think they would have jumped out there and refuted it unless that was the case. So I think he got stepped on, it's sore, and he needs some time to rest and then get back out there. But if he weren't able to go, then that really makes the Ronnie Stanley situation, even more interesting and kind of heightens that. If they don't feel that Juwan James is ready and they'd rather have McCary over there, well, now McCary has to start at center, so James better be ready at left tackle.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I hope that we see Ronnie here soon. And I'm starting to get a feeling that we might see Ronnie Stanley back before too long. Just, the training camp portion of this whole preseason spiel is over.
Yep.
And we might start to see some of these guys a little more full swing that are, coming off injury.
Yeah, and apparently it ended. Practice ended yesterday, and it was a clear advantage for the defense, is what everything I'm hearing coming out. That the offense struggled. That Marcus Williams was really the star of the day. He had multiple interceptions. He had one against Lamar. He had one against Anthony Brown, and he also had some pretty good hits on some offensive players as they were practicing in pads. So it looks like the defense, but it should, right? I mean, this is the highest paid secondary in the league. Like, it should look good against an offense that's got a lot of young guys, and a lot of their more veteran receivers aren't practicing with James Prochet out and with Tylan Wallace still out. So they should dominate. Like, when you see Marlon and Marcus Peters and Kyle Fuller and all these, and they're going up against guys like Shamar Bridges and Jalen Moore, who have yet to really make an impact, and they should dominate them. But my question to you is, Jimbo, we're gonna see the all-out blitz, right? We're gonna see that zero blitz that Miami made famous last year against the Ravens, and everyone copycatted after. If I think we all feel good about Bateman, and I think we all feel pretty good about Devin Duvernay. But that can't be your only two guys. And Devin Duvernay to this point is relatively unproven. What happens when we are facing that same zero blitz and they're manned up tight on the outside? Do we have the guys in the building right now that can get enough separation to get open quick enough to give Lamar Jackson the place to target?
Well, I think Isaiah Likely. Well, no, probably not. I'm going with optimism on this one, Glenn. I'm not super confident in this. I'm going with a yes. Maybe because I'm a Ravens fan, but if I wasn't, I'd say no. So let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You can measure it however you'd like.
So you're being optimistic is what it is. But like, Shamar Bridges looked great in the game, but he can't separate in practice. And he couldn't separate in the game. That's why he had to go up and over somebody. So it's like, yeah, it was great. He went up and mossed some people. But can he do that against a number 2, number 3 corner? Or could he only do that because he was going
help me
up?
Understand this here. In that scenario, I'm trying to think how impactful the tight end could be in the passing game if they're coming on a zero blitz, right? I mean,
well, he could be the one guy they decide to double. If I'm the defense, I might say, look, we're going to take Andrews out of it. So you're talking about Likely?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm also trying to think if they're coming on a zero blitz, is that going to require more from these guys to chip and things like that, right? Like, makes them less of a factor in that hot route stuff, that real quick, you know what I mean? Because initially I thought Likely is perfect for a scenario like this. He's big bodied, he's quick, he knows how to use his body, he can get open quickly. But if it's gonna take him longer to get off the line, he's automatically left out of that equation.
Yep.
So
yeah, this is a big game, Jimbo. I think this game is big to have some of these young receivers prove that they are, able to step up when the lights are brightest and not just in the preseason fourth quarter. King Ray 48 says, who was the best O-lineman in Ravens history? I think this is a slam dunk. It's got to be Big J.O.
Has to be. He
Hall
might
of
be the
Famer.
best left tackle of all time, right? He's in the conversation.
Yep, first ballot Hall of Famer. So yeah, that's a slam dunk. But behind him, right on his heels, I think is Marshall Yanda, and hopefully he'll be joining him in Canton soon enough. But yeah, it's definitely going to have to be it's going to be Big Jonathan Ogden, no doubt.
Yeah.
Sean Pisker says, "Did you guys see Lamar's interview today?" I only saw a clip of it, a clip where he was asked about the sources claiming he doesn't like working out. I will say this. We've said the same thing on this show, and our sources, we can say what our source is. It's Joshua Harris, his former coach.
Well, and not just Joshua Harris, also Coach Harper, who's the strength
and conditioning coach,
for Hollywood Brown, who him and Hollywood called up Lamar, try and get him come in gym, and Lamar's like, "Yeah, man, that's not really my thing." Literally from the horse's mouth, that's not really my thing.
But I love how Lamar just who's your source? Like, he didn't answer the question. He immediately asked about the question, and then the guy had this awkward laugh. I thought it was kind of funny, but it's no secret. I mean, that was kind of the thing. Like, he did it, but he wasn't like in love with doing it. Like, he's not in love with pushing weights, and that's
maybe
fine.
It's a new love.
Or maybe he's growing. Yeah, he's
maybe it's a new love. You know what I mean? But
not
certainly
every
it hasn't been in the past.
Yeah, not every athlete loves hitting the weight room.
Right.
I'll tell you what Lamar does love doing. He loves playing football.
Right.
And that's what matters most, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I think that's the foundation. There's a ton of workout warriors that you put on a basketball court or in a football field and they are lost. You know, and you want a happy a balance, right? Is what you want. You want a well-balanced athlete, right? Like that's what you want. So
that's why coaches all love multiple sport athletes.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it makes you better at all the sports.
100%.
But yeah,
I'm excited for this weekend. The other thing we want to let you guys know is we are going to be doing a preview show for the game, most likely on Sunday morning. We'll put that out. It won't be live, but it will be a recorded show. So make sure you turn on your notifications and
also, Jimbo, we got to finally let the people know what's going on. So, full disclosure, we had a studio lined up. The location that was going to let us use their studio.
We were moved in.
Yeah, we were moved in. It was a restaurant in the friendly confines of Baltimore, and unfortunately, the restaurant wasn't able to keep its doors open, and that was our a deal. You know, we would advertise the restaurant in return for allowing us to use the space. But when the restaurant shut down, they had no incentive on allowing us to continue to use that space. So, but the good news is we have plans and we have options. And so we're trying to move quickly and get that in because we are excited to get in the studio. We have the equipment. We are HD
ready.
4K cameras ready to see these. I don't know if you can tell, your boy's got freckles. You're going to see those freckles when we get those cameras up, but
we might not. We might need to start putting some makeup on, dude.
Dude, I might have to definitely powder because I'm shiny.
Dude, tell me about it, bro.
But yeah, so disappointed. No, we were certainly bummed out. The space was beautiful.
Yeah,
but
we'll get there. We'll get there. That way we can have guests come in and things like that. We'll certainly get there. But either way, we do have some other, like Glenn, some other options in play, and we're moving there quickly. Yeah. Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it, and we're so grateful for all you guys' support. All you guys that are patrons, all you guys that are silent contributors, all you guys that are sending your super chats. Shout out to Sean once again. And like Glenn said, this is something we're working towards putting more out for you guys, and so all the support is much appreciated, and trust me, well used.
Yeah,
none of it is lost on us, every dollar. So we appreciate it big time. But excited for Sunday, prepping for the game. We'll make sure you guys are ready for it. Looking forward to it. We'll also give you some news and notes on the 2 days practice they had out in Arizona. We'll use our friendly resources out there that got eyeballs on it, and we're looking forward to it. All that being said, have a great night, guys.
Yeah, and we'll talk soon.
See ya.